Welcome to An Alternate Hue. I'm Hugh Anderson, and this is what caught my attention recently. With the stock market continuing its relentless march on to new heights, it might surprise you to see what gold has to say about that. That's right, since 1971, the stock market hasn't risen one iota in the price of gold. When I was slinging bagels in my youth, they were about 25 cents a bagel. Now, try $2.50 a bagel minus the schmear. So as we ponder these wondrous valuations in the stock market and how they make our financial statements sparkle, remember it's only worth the paper it's printed on. Now, low-lying tropical island nations were expected to be the early victims of rising seas, but research tells a surprising story. Many islands are stable. Some have even grown. Raymond Zong, a climate reporter, and Jason Gully, a photographer, spent 2 weeks in the Maldives accompanying a scientist who study how islands are changing. When the world began paying attention to global warming decades ago, these islands were quickly identified as some of the first places climate change might ravage in their entirety. Not to mention, the polar bear was supposed to go along with them, but they're breeding like rabbits. Then, not very long ago, researchers began sifting through aerial images and found something startling. They looked at a couple of dozen islands first, then several hundred, and by now close to 1,000. And they found that over the past few decades, the island's edges had wobbled this way and that, but by and large, they hadn't even shrunk, and in some cases, they grew. Now, the seas rose and the islands expanded with them. To understand what happened to the atolls since the acceleration began, two researchers, Arthur Webb and Paul Kench, collected aerial photos of 27 Pacific islands from the middle of the 20th century. Then they compared them to recent satellite images. The seas had risen an inch or so each decade, yet the waves had kept piling sediment on the island shores, enough to mean that most of them hadn't changed much in size. The patterns they've uncovered in recent years are remarkably consistent across the 1,000 or so islands they've studied. Some shrank, others grew. Many, however, were stable. Well, that's it for this week. I highly recommend you jump over to hightowerlasvegas.com to hear what my partners say about the economy, the stock market, bond market, currencies, gold, you name it, we have a comment. Until next time, I'm Hugh Anderson, and this has been An Alternate Hue.